This episode of Crazy Ken's Tech Talk is sponsored by ArtGrid. So I'm examining this iPhone 12 dummy model, and one thing I'm kind of curious about is, what's this? You got the side button here, the volume buttons here, the SIM card tray here, but there's this extra little thing on here. And also the port on the bottom is bigger than a lightning connector, so USB-C? Well, that's kind of interesting. Let's dive in. Hey guys, how are you all doing? Really? That's just great. You know, I'm doing pretty great today too because the iPhone 12 is coming soon. iPhone cases are an insanely popular accessory, so if you're a company that makes them, you're going to want to release them as soon as possible, right after the new phone gets released, so you can have that advantage. And that's one big reason why these dummy models are made, just so companies can try to make their products and get them ready to go as quick as possible. We will see an official iPhone 12 announcement in September, with the release date slated sometime in October. It is a little bit later this year, probably due to COVID, but it's still coming soon and it will be a lot of fun. So we're looking at three screen sizes for the iPhone 12. We're looking at a 5.4, a 6.1, and a 6.7, which would actually be the largest screen size ever on an iPhone. And overall, just across everything you see, the design language is borrowed from the iPad Pro with the rounded corners and the square edges, which I think looks really nice. But more importantly, it just feels really nice. To me, the square edges just feel more secure in your hand when you're holding the phone. I was never a huge fan of the rounded edges, which Apple started doing with the whole iPhone 6 release, and they've been doing that ever since. It never felt as secure, especially with that slippery aluminum. It just never felt super secure in my hand, but I still bought an iPhone 6 Plus, whatever. I got over it, I put a case on it, and it was nice, but this feels good without a case. It feels nice and secure, so I'm excited to see that design language come back. Another cool thing is the screens will all be OLED this year. That's the speculation, so no more liquid retina display stuff, OLED across the board. I did notice though that this particular dummy, all three of these, do not show chamfered edges, kind of like what we had on the iPhone 5. So I don't know if the chamfered edges are gonna be in the iPhone 12 or not. I don't know if they just skipped that for the dummy design to save cost. I'm not really sure, but we'll see. I'm sure it'll look just fine. It also looks like there's some different materials here. So there's gonna be one 6.7-inch phone, two 6.1 inches, one's gonna be a Pro and one's not gonna be a Pro, and then the one 5.4. The non-Pro phones look like they're gonna have this sort of aluminum finish, whereas the Pro models and the Pro Max are gonna have this stainless steel kind of finish, which would make sense because that's what Apple is doing with the iPhone 11. And personally, I would go for the stainless steel because I think that just grips better and it looks shiny, but you know, aluminum's good too. Another small change, not super crazy important, is the SIM tray is located on the volume rocker side. And that's not earth-shattering, but normally it's on this side with the side button, but now it's on this side, so that's a little something that's interesting. But something that's a little more intriguing is, on these dummy models, the port on the bottom is bigger than a lightning plug. In fact, it fits USB-C. There is talk that Apple will ditch Lightning in favor of USB-C, kind of like what they do on their MacBook Pros and on their iPad Pros. But there's also rumors that in a future iPhone, they're gonna go portless. There's not gonna be any ports at all. So would it really make sense for Apple to switch from Lightning to USB-C and then just kill off the ports a year later? To me, that doesn't really sound right. I think these dummies were just manufactured with USB-C based on incorrect rumors, or maybe it was just a manufacturing defect. But I think we're gonna see Lightning on the iPhone 12. Okay, so that brings us back to the thing I was talking about at the beginning. What's this? The SIM card is on this side, the SIM card tray, and then there's this bigger thing on this side underneath the side button. So I did a little digging into this, and I believe it's the AIP for millimeter wave 5G. And we'll talk more about 5G later, but I'm pretty sure that's what this is for. If anyone has any other theories, please let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so let's talk about the display. Again, there's going to be three screen size options across 4 different models, and rumor has it that at least one of the models will have ProMotion. This is a feature that's in the iPad Pro right now, and ProMotion is essentially an adaptive refresh rate feature that can go up to 120 Hertz, and it will adjust up to 120 Hertz or lower depending on what content is displayed on the screen. And 120 Hertz would make everything look a lot smoother on the screen compared to the regular 60 Hertz we see on today's iPhones. Now, we might not see ProMotion in all of the models. We'll probably only see it in the Pro models, which makes sense. It has the word Pro in the name. But There's also some talk that we may not see promotion at all because there could be some R&D issues with it. Apple has some higher standards when it comes to power management and battery life. And doing 120 hertz, double the refresh rate on your screen, will suck up battery life way quicker. I ran a little poll on my Twitter and on my YouTube community to see if people would be okay with a higher refresh rate at the cost of battery life. About 2/3 of the responses said no, so that's something to think about. And if there is an issue with making this feature work and also maintaining the battery life, Apple is not going to do it. Think about when they did the multitasking. It took them a while to get multitasking in iOS, but a big reason they waited and worked on it more was to save battery life. So they're not going to release this feature until it is good and ready. If it does come out in the iPhone 12, my bet is it's only going to be on the higher end models, and if we don't see it this year, we'll see it in 2021. An interesting thing though is Juno Techo on Twitter pointed out a screenshot on iOS 14 that said limit frame rate. So it looks like Apple is testing out promotion on iPhone, but he also reported the switch has since disappeared. So maybe that was a bug and it wasn't supposed to be seen in the first place. Pretty interesting. What about Touch ID? There was rumor about the Touch ID feature coming into the display instead of it being on a separate button. We're probably not going to see that on the iPhone 12 though. We could see that in the future, but I doubt we'll see that on the 12. It'll just be Face ID for now. I'm just gonna flip these guys over now because I just like looking at the backs. They're kind of shiny. Anyway, the next thing I wanna talk about is kind of a weird topic because I don't think I've seen any other smartphone do this. Apple is rumored to not ship the charger with the iPhone 12. We're not gonna see headphones in the box either, but there's also talk that there's not gonna be the USB power brick. There's also talk we may not even see the lightning cable, period. But there's also a rumor saying that we may see the lightning cable, but it will be designed with a new braided look. So there's some mixed rumors here about whether or not we're gonna see the cable or the brick. Personally, I still think we're gonna get a lightning cable, because could you imagine being a first-time iPhone user and you come home and you use it and then it's dead and you have no way to charge it? That would just be stupid. But on the flip side, for us existing iPhone users, we probably have a ton of these lying around the house, so it doesn't matter. So why would Apple do this? Well, for starters, not including that stuff in the box will keep production costs down a little bit. But also it'll help keep the box smaller, which means you can fit more boxes in shipments, which is good for the environment. And another thing too is it will reduce e-waste, so a bunch of these don't end up improperly just being thrown out or whatever, so that will cut back on e-waste, which could be good for the environment. But here's another reason why I think they're doing this. If they're truly gonna go portless, which it's Apple, I bet they are, that means everything's gonna be charged wirelessly. You won't need a physical plug anymore. So I think keeping the charger, the physical plug-in charger out of the box is kind of like a transition strategy to get people ready for a fully wireless phone. They kind of started pushing that when they removed the headphone jack, and then they started selling AirPods and all that good stuff. So this actually opens up the possibility for Apple to ship a new charging accessory. Maybe we'll see AirPower come back. It also opens up the possibility for other companies to start manufacturing their own wireless chargers for the iPhone, more than what we have right now. And, it may sound silly that Apple is killing off a certain feature and they're now gonna sell you the fix to it, but that's kind of what they did with the whole AirPods thing. They killed off the headphone jack and now they're selling wireless headphones and they're making billions doing that. And other companies are selling their own wireless headphones as well. And I bet you within 2 years of Apple killing off all ports on their phones, you're gonna see most, if not all, comparable smartphones go portless as well. All right, let's talk about 5G. The iPhone 12 will have 5G. The antenna bands are actually bigger than on the iPhone 11, making way for the 5G connectivity. Now again, we have this AIP on the Pro Max here. I don't see it on these models, and that enables millimeter wave 5G, which is faster than sub-6 5G. We're not 100% clear about that yet. We'll find out more in September. But bottom line, between sub-6 and millimeter wave, you're gonna get 5G on the iPhone 12. And with a Qualcomm modem, not an Intel modem. Apple did switch to Intel a little while ago for their LTE connectivity, but it looks like Apple's gonna be switching back to Qualcomm now. And there is actually this crazy legal story as to why they did the switch in the first place, but that's a whole different rabbit hole of a conversation. But you're in luck. Renee Ritchie did a good video about this, so go check that out after this one. Okay, time to talk about the camera system. In fact, these really aren't phones with cameras anymore. They're cameras with phones. I don't even make phone calls on my phone anymore. Anyway, not a lot of big changes this year. Hate to burst your bubble, but there's still a few things. The optical zoom is going to go from 2x to 3x, which will help you zoom in a little bit better without digital artifacts or anything like that. So that's nice. There was also some code in iOS 14 that suggests 4K video at 120 frames per second and 240 frames per second, which means you can get really slow motion with those new camera updates. So those are some small things, but the bigger thing is LiDAR. LiDAR is a feature that's on the iPad Pro right now, which enables you, depending on what software you're using, to create these really fast, seamless, real-time augmented reality experiences, which is pretty sweet that could be coming to the iPhone now. But these dummy models don't show any LiDAR sensors, but I'm willing to bet we will see LiDAR in the iPhone 12 when it's officially announced, probably just on the Pro or even just the Pro Max. So let's keep our eyes peeled for that. But with time after the 12 release, we will see LiDAR get rolled out to the other devices. So, cost. How much will it cost? The wealthier you are, the less expensive it'll seem. Thanks, College Humor, for that one. No, in all seriousness, right now, the rumors are suggesting the entry-level 5.4-inch iPhone in US dollars is going to range from $649 to $749. We're not sure which one it is yet, but we know it's going to be within that range. My bet, $699. That's what I'm guessing. So we'll see soon. So September is going to be a very fun month. And when the announcement is made, I will absolutely talk about my first impressions with it. And when I can actually get the real phone in my hands, I will absolutely do a review. So make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned for that. And I want to give a special thanks to ArtGrid for sponsoring today's episode. ArtGrid is a powerful, royalty-free stock footage licensing platform created by filmmakers for filmmakers. And it's perfect for your YouTube videos or anything you publish, video podcasts, commercial videos, and more. Stock footage can be expensive and the licensing can be complicated, but ArtGrid makes it easy. A single annual subscription gives you access to tons of clips, and you can download anything you want throughout the whole year, no limits. And you can keep the footage license forever. And there's even a stock music subscription too. I use them all the time for my YouTube show. So when you start working on that next video, be sure to add some awesome ArtGrid clips into it, and if you sign up through my link, you'll be supporting the channel, and you'll get 2 extra months free added to your subscription. Let me know what you guys want to see in the iPhone 12. Just feel free to drop a comment down below. It's going to be a fun release. And if you want to support this channel, plus get some cool perks, feel free to click the join button below the video. And if for some reason the join button isn't there, there's a link in the description. And if you like this video, you know what to do. Thanks for sticking with me. Catch the crazy and pass it on.